Hey, welcome back to my channel. It's Angela, and welcome back to the video I do every month that I love doing, that everybody else seems to love doing. This is the last of these videos for 2024. Today is January 3rd, 2025. I've been doing other videos and all this other stuff, so it's a couple days late. But this is the decks I got in December of 2024. Got my iced coffee from my local Seven Brew. It's amazing. I've already had to get up this morning. It's Friday. I took the day off just because I've been feeling under the weather, and I realized yesterday that I had forgotten I had to get my tags renewed on my car. So I went and did that this morning, which I thought was going to be a nightmare. It turned out it was in and out thing, which has never happened at the DMV. If you've ever been to the DMV waiting for anything to do with your car, it takes hours. But I have 6 decks for you guys today. Only one Oracle in the month of December. But some of my most surprising and exciting things happened in December. So, among all the tower moments, because it was a tower month for me also, which I'm kind of glad I'm now out of that energy, because when you're depressed and you're down in the dumps and you're in a tower moment, you don't want to work with like darker energy, if that makes sense. And I was really wanting to work with like my darker wintry energy decks in the month of January, and I didn't want this funk hanging over me because you have to be in better spirits, I feel like, my opinion only, just so you know, in better spirits, or I don't know what the word is. It's on the tip of my tongue, the word I'm looking for. Not controlled, but like not an emotional state, to kind of work with a darker wintry deck to me. And I was really wanting to dive deep into a couple of my wintry decks in January, and I was feeling like if I extend this tower moment over into January, I'm not going to be able to do that because I was so depressed and down in the dumps that I didn't want to pile on top of that, if that makes any sense. But luckily I'm now out of that funk. 2024 is finally over. We are in a new year. I'm thinking more positive, despite all the people that are trying to make me down in the dumps. I'm thankfully wizened enough to kind of move past that. So, without further ramble, I have 6 decks for you. And the first one, I put it in a pouch because the box kind of sucked. These first 2, the box sucked. And, they're both US Games decks, and if you see, I think the last video I did was my US Games decks for 2024. These 2 were probably in there. This is the Dreaming Way Tarot. It's been on my wish list for a very long time. These are the backs, which I actually love. It reminds me of those 70s beaded curtains, 70s style beaded curtains, going into like a seedy, in a movie, like in a seedy bathhouse or something like that, which I think is cool. I don't know why, but everybody that I know, I've seen on YouTube that has this deck has redone the backs. And I'm like, I don't get it because I think they're cool. Anyway, just my opinion. But this deck has been on my list for a very long time. I just never put it on my list. I edged it in green, my favorite color. I will edge every deck I can in green if I could. I think that the green came out pretty good on this. I was hoping for a little bit lighter like this, but it came out good. The cardstock is their normal buttery cardstock. They're from their older decks. This has been on my wish list for a very long time, and I just never bought it. And then I'm like, what are you waiting for? Just buy it and see. And it was on sale. I think it was like $16 when I bought it this month, or December. And I've just been having the greatest time with it. It's just been so fun reading with it. And it does seem like it has a more wintry effect to it, almost like a late fall or early spring deck that still has winter notes, if that makes any sense to you guys. It is not one of the decks I intend to use this winter. So I will probably be using it, or not January anyway. Not January. Maybe February. Maybe toward the end of February I'll start using this. But what I've worked with it so far has been fabulous. I like the artwork. It's different than anything I have. It's really cool. And it really surprised me because I thought, oh, I'm just going to get it and it's going to be whatever. And then, of course, and there's usually always a reason why something stays on my wish list until I get it because it's fabulous. So that was deck one I purchased at the beginning of December. And for a while there, I thought that was the only deck I was going to buy. And then I put this one in a pouch because the box was horrible on this one. It almost seems like the deck is too small for the box. Box is already falling apart, and I just got it in December. This is the Abano Weight tarot deck. Papery, very thin cardstock, but it's still got that silkiness that US Games is known for, but it's super thin. These are the backs. You guys know what this deck is. I for some reason kept thinking this was a indie deck that was out of print, and I didn't shuffle the other, but this one can shuffle. Because it's so thin, it shuffles amazing. I don't know. I just kept thinking this was an indie out of print deck, and then when I saw it on somebody's channel, I'm like, what? It's a US Games deck, and it's still available for I think I paid $16, $17 for it. I'm like, yes. So I went and immediately bought it. I love the coloration in this. I say I'm not an RWS girl. I did learn tarot through RWS, but I'm not the traditional RWS kind of girl. I don't have a whole lot of these decks. I do have a few now, enough to say I shouldn't be saying that anymore because I have a few now. But they all have a specific coloration to them. They're all different in their own way. And it's got the Pixies initials down here. So it is her artwork. It's just a different coloration. Which I don't mind. I don't know why the traditional, the very first deck I bought ever was the Radiant Rider-Waite. And I got it because it was vibrant colors. And then when I got it and started trying to work with it, I hated the fact that it was vibrant colors. And I am noticing the ones I love the most. I mean, I love my 2.0 from Make Playing Cards. It's got vibrant colors in it. But for the most part, the rest of the RWS decks I have are a completely different coloration. They're usually darker tone notes to them, aged looking, and that's what I love about them. And then this one has just anything that's different I like. So the fact that that's all red, the fact that we have yellow in the Eight of Swords, it's cool. And yeah, his purple robe, the coloration is cool, I think. Yeah, look at that. It's like a greenish, almost pea green soup color. I just think the coloration is neat. I love that all green there. And I could not believe that I did not know that this was not a indie out of print deck. And I immediately bought it. I'm like, okay, I'm getting it. So I bought that at the beginning of the month also. So this and the Dreamy Way were pretty quickly in December. And then I didn't buy anything for half a month. I bought those on Amazon, but they are US Games decks. Oh my god, are all these US Games decks? Holy crap. So the first four, wait, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I have 7 decks, sorry. So the first 5 are all US Games decks. This one I purchased off of US Games. It's the Smith-Waite Tarot deck miniature borderless version, and of course that is my second favorite deck. If I reach for a RWS, it's either going to be my 2.0 or the borderless. And the fact that I now have a mini, amazing. This came out in November. I love I love it. Love the backs. It is literally like they just took the borders off. It's got all the, which I've probably mixed in. It's got all the art cards that go with this. It's a beautiful deck. Yeah, there are the little art cards that go. And I think it was impressive that they still added them into the mini deck because they didn't have to. Why? They really didn't have to add all the extra art cards that was in the original. But I think this is cool. It feels more accessible, so I can leave my full size at home and take this out and about in the world and have a little fun with it. Pull some cards if somebody needs some. But I just could not resist that. And of course, I said just like that in the previous deck I just showed you, I don't get a lot of RWS decks, and then I show you 2 in 1 month. But I had to get the many to the borderless. Had to. Anyway, that was deck 3. That's also US Games deck, and I actually bought that one straight from US Games. The next 2 I bought together from US Games. I was scrolling through looking for one deck and did not know this one existed and immediately bought it. It is the Marchetti Tarot by Chiara Marchetti. This is, of course, US Games. I have the Marchetti Tarot indie version. I did not know that this was coming out in indie version. In an indie version. I mean, in a mass market version. At all. Had not heard nothing, had not seen anything, and then all of a sudden I was looking for the next deck I'm going to show you, and I said, what the heck is this? And it was already available. It wasn't even like pre-order or nothing. It was just available. No, it was a pre-order, and then they immediately shipped them out because they had them both in stock. So I pre-ordered this along with another deck, the next deck I'm going to show you, which you probably, if you've been watching my channel lately, you know, because it's been in every video. But, and I've actually paired this with the next deck. Fabulous together. Even though they aesthetically don't go together, they read well together. Very intense. Very hardcore mediumship readings. I used this deck and the next deck I'm going to show you in a mediumship reading for 3 days in a row. And the same person came through all 3 days, and I kept thinking it was my uncle that passed away in December. And the third day, I'm like, this doesn't feel like him. It feels like somebody else. And usually, if it's a family member, if I'm like, oh, it's so and so, I don't see them again in the cards. But it was the same person coming through the cards over and over and over, and I'm like, why? And then it hit me because my friend at work's grandfather passed away right before my uncle did. Like 2 weeks before. And it hit me, it could have been him. And the second I said, is this her grandfather? Every anxiety I had been feeling went away, trying to figure out who this was. It was like the truth clicked, and I figured out who it was in that instant. And all of a sudden, all of the cards that I had been pulling for several days made total sense. And I'm like, oh. And then I asked, do you have a special, any kind of special message for her? And the message I got was incredible. I related to her because she's one of those that's open to this kind of stuff. And she almost went to tears. I almost went to tears. It was a whole thing. And I'm like, what is happening? But yeah, this deck made me realize who was, and that's why as a medium, I have so many decks, because each deck can be a different spirit. Each deck, if I have a spirit come to me and I all of a sudden have a hankering to pull a specific deck, it's because that's the deck they want me to communicate with them through, if that makes any sense to you guys. And I think that's why when I first started this, I'm like, I'm not a collector, but I kind of have to be a medium in my world. Yeah, in my opinion, in my world. Look at this freaking death card. She's stunning. And my favorite, I think that's my second favorite card. My favorite card in here, which I didn't show you, was the card that kept coming out. And I'm like, why? But it was the Seven of Swords. In this card deck, it's stunning. It's a beautiful, 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 beautiful card. I'm looking for it now. And that's the card that kept coming out when I asked, who are you? And I'm like, why? And then her grandfather was not a nice person. He had made a lot of enemies. He was selfish. He basically, when his wife had a stroke, he threw her in a home until she died. And it was a whole thing that came out in the cards the other day. And I'm like, what is happening? So it made sense that this specific card kept coming out, this thievery card. But look how gorgeous that card is. And what I find interesting is Aquarius here. My friend is an Aquarius. So that just threw me off. Like, what? Because she actually has that tattoo on her body of Aquarius because she's Aquarius. So, and I just like flipped out when I saw that the other day, and it just clicked to who was coming through the card. It was her grandfather, and I'm like, that's insane. And she's like, well, he just passed. Can he come through that quick? I'm like, yeah. Contrary to popular belief, I've had somebody come through as they were dying. As soon as somebody's dying or dead, it's like they know, oh my God, I screwed up this whole life, and I've done this and this and this, and they immediately regret whatever they did. And I've had too many instances where there was instant regret and instant, oh my God, what did I just do? Or why did I wrong that person? It's almost like they're feeling all the things they've done to someone else. And I explained that to her, and she said, that makes sense, because all these negative cards were coming out, and it's like he knew, and he was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry that I was this person in life. So I just found that interesting. Anyway, before I continue to ramble, deck 5, wait, 1, 2, 3, yeah. Deck 5, I got with the Tarot Marchetti Tarot, the Desert Illuminations Tarot. I have not put this down. I actually just set it down. The first, I chose some darker, more appropriate decks for the year. These are the backs. They come teal edge matte, beautiful. I can shuffle it, not as well as the Marchetti Tarot, because the Marchetti Tarot is a little thinner. This is the nice, buttery, soft. I just totally screwed that up. Cardstock also, but it's a little thicker. This is more like the Spirit Song Tarot cardstock. The Marchetti Tarot is thinner than that. But it still feels buttery in your hand. It still has that buttery softness that U.S. Games decks are known for. I freaking love this deck so hard. I have waited for years. I heard probably 3 years ago, Desert Illuminations is coming out mass market. And I'm like, what? Because this has been on my list for a long time. And I waited. Instead of purchasing the indie version, I waited for the mass market to come out. And I have been waiting this whole time. And it was supposed to be December 31st released. I pre-ordered it along with the Marchetti Tarot that it was all supposed to come out the 31st of December. And I wound up getting them 2 weeks earlier than that because they had them in stock and they shipped them. And I'm like, I'm so in love right now. I literally tracked every movement it made in the mail system till it got to my doorstep. I've been waiting for this deck for so long. Between this deck and the Tarot of Echoes that I've been waiting for so long for her to finish and get out, I learned what patience was this year in 2024. I really did. But this is stunning. And it reads amazing. And, you know, I just said that I used it with my Marchetti Tarot. They may not look like they go together, but they read impeccably well together. It was a stunning deck, and I freaking love it to pieces. This is one of my top 10 decks of the year in 2024, and I freaking love it. So that was deck 5. Deck 6 is the only oracle we have in here, the Cosmic Crossroads Oracle. Did not know this existed either. I was told this was a indie that went mass market also. This is a Hay House deck, the first deck in this video that's not U.S. Games. I just happened to see somebody using this deck, and it's a nice tarot size also. It shuffles amazing. It's got the nice matte cardstock from Hay House. I fell in love with this deck instantly. I was like, before she was done showing it, I forgot who it is. I want to say Marin from Ways of Your Soul, but I think it's somebody else that I saw first on here. I don't think she's got this. I don't remember who it was that's got it, but I saw it just a couple cards, and I'm like, purchase. And I went online, and it was already available, and I purchased it. And got it 2 days later. toward the very end of December. So I think this was the last deck I bought. Yeah, this was the last deck I bought in the year. And just boggle my mind. I love collage decks. I paired this for a week and a half with the Desert Illuminations, the Marchetti Tarot, and this. And they were, again, they may not all aesthetically go together, but they read amazing together. And I was like, it's everything a medium wants in an Oracle deck. Everything. And it was just fabulous. And my freaking thing went off again. It was fabulous. And I loved it to pieces. And, oh my God. If you don't have this deck, it's like $22 on Amazon. If you don't have it, go get it. You will not regret it. I love it. So the last deck I got in December was actually a Christmas gift. It's from a thrift store by my son. It just says tarot on it. I have a deck when I first started reading tarot that I got at Five and Below, just like this, but it's the RWS version. It's a cheap $5 deck. The book is cool though. It tells you all about Marseille deck, Marseille reading. This deck is a Marseille deck. The cards are, look, they're super thin. The whole deck fits in this tiny little box, super thin. These are the backs. It's like literally like paper. If I bend it, it will stay bent. Yeah, the whole deck is like half an inch thick. Maybe an inch thick. It's super, super thin. But it's the first Marseille deck I've gotten that actually has a book with it. I have maybe 3 other Marseille deck. I have the Cyrene Tarot. I have the one from Patrick Valencia, the pink, the rose one. Can't remember the name of the deck. And like one other deck. I never really use them because they're precious to me. But I think it's interesting that it's almost like the powers that be are like, yeah, now it's time to learn Marseille. You have enough decks. Now you have a book for it. And I don't know that I'll be using this deck specifically just because, for one, it's precious even though it's cheap. It's precious to me because it's the first year my son has thought about someone other than himself at Christmas time. And he actually bought his dad, me, and his brother gifts this year. So it's precious to me because of that. And I don't want anything to mess it up because it is a cheaper type deck. And it's literally paper thin. I don't want anything to mess it up. But I do have sturdier decks that I can apply that book to. So I will be using the book. I don't necessarily think I'll be using this deck. But it's really cool looking though. If it came on a thicker cardstock, it'd be a great deck. But that is all the decks I got in the month of December. 7 decks. 1 Oracle. 1 long time awaited. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, don't hesitate to comment below. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more, please subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification button so you're alerted to any future videos. And y'all have a good night.